Who's that boy? 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 Not long ago, I posted a video about the most exotic sounding engines out there, and there were a lot of comments about bikes that you guys felt should have been on the list. Well, baby yams, fear not, because your old Papa Yam had a plan, and many of the bikes you commented about are actually going to be featured in today's video. Oh, yams of little faith, you thought Papa would forsake you. You thought he would leave you high and dry up on the mountain, away from the light of our Lord Rossi, away from his gaze and love. You know, sometimes, as a side note, I wonder if Rossi has ever seen or heard the weird things I say about him. Makes you wonder. Today we're going to look at 7 of the highest revving motorcycles out there. If you want something that sounds good, check out the video we did on the most exotic engine sounds. I'll link it in the description box below. But if you want to take high revs to a whole new level of badassery, then you're in the right place, my friends. Motorcycle engines are known for their high revving nature. Since they're limited in size, we can't slap massive engines in them, so power must be made in a different way, by revving high as hell. For most bikes, 9, 10, even 11,000 RPM is pretty standards. Most sport bikes nowadays rev that high anyways, so the bikes we're featuring and listening to today will double that output. Several of the bikes we're going to be looking at are small displacement inline 4-cylinder bikes from the 90s, so mostly 250cc inline 4s. For the non-mechanic minds out there, that means that all 4 cylinders are next to each other in a nice neat row. Very popular engine design, and most sport bikes and race bikes use an inline 4 configuration. 4-cylinder bikes are known for their smoothness, high revs, and that sport bike sound everyone knows and loves. Unless you're woken up by it at 3 a.m. and then even bikers will curse the heavens and say, "Why are there so many squids in my area?" Which reminds me, we're starting a new dating service, Squidder. Meet local squids in your area, download the app today, cutie pies. Well, the other joke I had for this one was, "This is America, squids in my area." Hi, hello, yes, I'm Yammie Noob, funny man extraordinaire, the internet's favorite motorcycle funny man. Hello, how's it going? And since Honda completely nailed the design in the late 60s with the CB750, good luck finding a Japanese bike that isn't powered by an inline 4. They're reliable, easy to produce, and offer solid performance. What more could a rider want? And if your response to that was torque, then I agree. Torque is what I want. Mountains of it, gobs of it. Pile the torque on me, daddy. That said, get ready for an onslaught because the Big 4 have dominated yet another Yammie Noob production. And quick note, today's video is supported by Manscaped. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about them later in this video. And of course, if you're new around here, smash that subscribe button like it owes you money, because it probably does. Look at it. Sitting there under my video, how dare it? Now enough of this, enough jibber jabber, let's get on with it, let's go! Up first, we have to take a look at the 1990 Honda CBR 250RR. This 90s only cult favorite was only sold in Asia and Australia, so finding one in the US is kinda tough. This baby has a 19,000 RPM redline. That's the equivalent of a modern day Formula 1 race car. You won't find that kind of RPM threshold on the new CBRs though. Around 94, the law started changing in Japan, and all the performance thresholds started lowering to put manufacturers in compliance. Newer models of the CBR 250RR max out at 14k RPMs, and the new versions are a far cry from their high revving mini Fireblade cousins, but let's get a sound check on 19,000 RPM. This particular bike is a bit of an anomaly in the US, so it's pretty unlikely you'll ever see it in the wild. But if you do, cross your heart and say a prayer to sweet baby Rossi, because it's one of the rarest bikes you'll come across. Speaking of, if you're interested in rare bikes, be sure to check out the video I put out called Motorcycles You'll Never See in the Wild. There's some pretty cool bikes out there that most people haven't ever even heard of. Click that pop-out card to learn more. The next bike we're gonna look at is bound to ruffle the feathers of more veteran riders, but newer riders may also be completely unfamiliar with the 2006 Yamaha R-6 and its controversial arrival on the motorcycle market. Yamaha marketed the 2006 R-6 as one of the highest revving motorcycles of the time, boasting a redline of 17.5k RPM. The modern day market hadn't seen anything with RPMs that high, so it was a focal point of the sales campaign. But Disaster struck when the bikes hit the lots at the dealerships and people started purchasing them. Less savvy riders didn't notice much, but more experienced and mechanically inclined riders noted that even though the tachometer showed the needle was getting really close or sometimes hitting that 17.5k RPM, the engine was actually redlining closer to 16,000. The faulty tachometer was not well received by the public, and Yamaha ended up offering to buy bikes back because of it. Regardless, the bikes would hit 16,000 verified RPMs, and that's high enough to land it on our list of highest revving motorcycles. Let's get a sound check for what 17.5k fake RPM sounds like.
100 RPM redline claim, but that's forgotten once you hear this screamer sing.
The R6 is a classic super sport, and next to your Kawasaki ZX-6s, they're one of the most recognizable shapes too. It's produced from 08 until 2016 in this generation. It's a gem of a track day bike and a super sport that can rip around a racetrack in the right hands. All right, everyone, take a moment to smooth your feathers and relax your hackles. It's time for bike number 3, the Kawasaki ZXR 250. This bike was only made from 1988 to 1999, which might seem like a long time, but I'm sure fellow riders will agree that this babe blows most others completely out of the water. These bikes were only officially available in Japan, and the redline range, that's right, the range, is 18,000 to 20,000 RPMs. Now that's a spicy meatball, but what does such a spicy meatball sound like? Let's hear it. Aside from updating and modernizing the look of the ZX250, not a whole lot changed during its lifespan. Kawasaki made a few adjustments to the mechanics which actually improved performance, if you can believe it, and other than that, they pretty much left well enough alone. And kudos to them for doing it, because damn, 20k RPM? That's pretty crazy. If anyone has actually had the privilege of riding a Kawasaki ZX250R, drop a comment and let us mere mortals know what that kind of raw RPMage feels like. Now we're chatting a lot about RPM limits and engines, but you know what hums away thanklessly at 8,000 RPMs and has instant torque? That's right, it's the dulcet tones of your Manscaped Lawnmower 2.0 doing work on your zesty testes. Manscaped is a great supporter of the Yam fam, and God knows if they keep helping the channel, we'll buy that Lamborghini one day and wrap it in hentai and male grooming products. That's what I want my life to turn into. Yep, no doubt. In case you don't know and aren't an avid watcher of the channel, Manscaped is the only brand dedicated to male grooming below the belt. Seriously, y'all might not think it's that important, but 8 in 10 partners find a groomed downstairs more attractive than the damn jungle gym you call your nuts. For a limited time, you can get 20% off with the code YAM20 and using the link below. So go out, get your downstairs sorted out, do a little renovation, spruce the place up a little bit, you know? Tell them Yam sent you. All right, let's get back into this. Bike number 4 on our illustrious list is none other than the Suzuki RP68. For this one, we're going all the way back to 1967 when Suzuki pushed out a brand new 3-cylinder after it was rumored that Honda would be launching its own 3-cylinder in 1968. Now, of course, since this is a 3-cylinder bike, we must pay pilgrimage to the one and only patrician 3-cylinder motorcycle, the Triumph Daytona 675R. Triumph, if you're listening, if you're watching, I know you don't want to work with me now, but one day we can be together. Just hit me up, girl. Let me know when the time is right. The RP68 is an incredibly intricate machine, but the rider was such a large factor in its overall riding performance. This particular Suzuki required 14 gears to properly harness the power and handle the 20,000 RPMs it was known to produce. The bike fared better with smaller riders, and it's interesting to see it struggle at takeoff with someone on it, but it sounds like you're watching a NASCAR race before it even makes it up to speed. Let's get a sound check, please. We're a little more than halfway through our list, and I'm already feeling a little desensitized to the current RPM ranges offered by modern day bikes. Anyone else worried that they might feel a little disappointed during their next ride when their tach doesn't reach 20,000 RPM? We better not let our bikes hear us say that hell hath no fury and all that. We're gonna stay in the 60s for this next one. Number 5 on the list is the 1966 Honda RC149. Reminiscent of a torpedo, the Honda engineers designed the RC149 with the power to move like one, and crafted a historic 5-cylinder engine that completely annihilated motorcycle power at the time. This bike was able to produce a whopping 21,500 RPMs, making it the highest revving motorcycle on our list so far. Here's that tasty sound. What's really cool about the Honda RC149 though is that in order for Honda to make a 5-cylinder engine, they had to create one of the smallest cylinder bores that they'd ever even attempted. The cylinders were a tiny 1.33 inches in diameter, stuffed with 4 valves and a spark plug. That's an insane engineering feat even by today's standards, and Honda managed to pull it off in 1966. Whether you're a Honda fan or not, you gotta hand it to them, they deserve a pat on the back for that one. Now it's hard to believe that anything can top the RC149, but the next bike on our list is going to top it or go down trying. It's the 2003 Kawasaki ZX-6rr. These special edition bikes were created to give Kawasaki the opportunity to put the ZX-6R in the World Supersport Championship. Other than the homologation special tag, there wasn't a whole lot of difference between the ZX-6R and the ZX-6rr though. And in fact, the ZX-6rr clocked in slower than its road bike counterpart and was sold for $1,000 more. At the time of the race, 53 were sent to the UK, but they weren't nearly as popular as the ZX-6R, which is why that's the bike you're most likely to come across when a Cowie goes rolling by. The Kawasaki ZX-6rr redlines at an impressive 15,500 RPM, which puts it on the lower end of the scale for our list, but that's still pretty impressive. Let's get a sound check on this bike. The final bike on today's list is another Japanese rocket, the 1986 Yamaha FZR 250. This rarity clocks 18,000 RPM and was produced from 86 to 88. Like most of the pocket rockets on our list, this babe was originally only available in Japan, but a few have managed to make it overseas. It's estimated that there are only a handful of them that found their way into the US, so this is another one I'll have to add to my dream list. I want one of these little 90s retro high revving nuggets so bad. One day we'll import one and do it as a giveaway. In case you need a refresher, here's what it sounds like. Now, if you've made it this far into our video, you deserve a reward, and I bless you with this week's segment of Clip of the Week, where I find, by way of you fine people, sending me some amazing clips of motorcycling, crashes, or other related items. If you have a ridiculous clip you think that needs to be featured, then by all means email me at coalitionmoto@gmail.com and I shall feature you. Today's gift comes to us from Simply Better Latvian, who emailed me this clip from Yammie Moto. Now I've seen this clip before, but it still boggles my mind every time I see it because, holy Christ, how did you not die? Let's take a look.
It's okay, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
You alright?
Dude, that sucked.
Alright.
Holy I went under.
My favorite part is him just saying, dude, that sucked. No, dude, it did not suck. It ruled because you walked away from that. You're the luckiest dude ever. Second only to my crash. Good job, Yammie Moto. Now that's a wrap for today's video. If you're new around here or for some reason you just haven't done it yet, take a second and smash the subscribe button. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the bell on the right to make sure you stay in the know for all things Yammie Noob. We got a whole lot of great things coming up in 2019, and hitting that bell will make sure that you get real-time notifications anytime we make an announcement over here on the old YouTube. Sometimes I abuse it and ask you if you want Brussels sprouts or sweet potatoes. True story. In case you missed it, there's a new entry for our beginner bike build series, and that means a new chance to win a bike. If you're not into hentai hornets but appreciate a lady in red, then head over to the latest video in the series and check out the 2017 beauty that we are giving away. Because we've got a fresh to death 2017 Yamaha FZR ready to go. You're gonna wanna make sure you tune in for that. I'll catch you guys next time. See you later. Fact: the oldest your mom joke was found on a 3,500-year-old Babylonian tablet. Goodbye.